dropping a lawsuit against the IRS over leaked tax returns in exchange for creation of what the Justice Department is calling an anti-weaponization fund, allowing a process for other claims of weaponization to be heard and addressed. DOJ says the fund will receive more than $1.7 billion from a perpetual appropriation for the department to settle and pay cases. Democrats and government watchdogs are calling it unprecedented and a corrupt arrangement and say they will fight it. Iran reportedly sending a revised proposal to Pakistani mediators.
This comes as the economic situation inside of Iran is getting worse each day due to the ongoing U.S. blockade of Iranian ports. CENTCOM says more than 80 commercial vessels have been redirected and 4 were disabled to enforce the blockade.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect mostly cloudy skies with a breeze and high humidity. There's a chance of a thunderstorm lingering into the early afternoon, possibly bringing hail and strong winds. The temperature will reach 80 degrees. Tonight, it will remain breezy with mostly cloudy and humid conditions. Another thunderstorm may develop late with a low of 71 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Hugh Hewitt sees some red flags.
The framework includes, point 1, the U.S. and Iranian naval blockade will be gradually lifted during the detailed negotiation period. Red light, detailed negotiation period. You don't need a detailed negotiation period. They need to stop firing at ships and let everybody out, and our blockade's got to continue.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Alex Marlowe at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft, but that's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 30% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com, 800-LifeLock, 1-800-LifeLock, or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
Born on America's darkest day, 9/11/01, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping American heroes ever since. Heroes like FDNY Lieutenant Edward J. McDonough Jr. McDonough served at Ground Zero. He later lost his life to a related cancer. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to honor his sacrifice by paying off the family's mortgage. Donate $11 a month, and you can amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Your beloved dog and a stranger are both drowning. You can only save one. Who do you save? Every time Dennis Prager asks that question, his audience splits 3 ways. 1/3 chooses the dog, 1/3 chooses the stranger, and 1/3 aren't sure. Why? Because we live in an age where increasingly feelings define right and wrong. But if morality is based on emotion, then murder, rape, and theft are just opinions. And if people feel justified, why is rioting or destruction wrong at all? In his new book, If There Is No God, Dennis Prager explains why civilizations cannot survive without objective morality and why Judeo-Christian values shape the moral foundations of the free world.
If you claim that certain things are good, certain things are evil, independent of how you feel about it, you are in effect affirming God.
If There Is No God by Dennis Prager, available now at pragerstore.com. That's pragerstore.com.
If moving safely around your home is a concern, you deserve clear answers, not a sales pitch. Access will help you improve home accessibility with practical solutions like lifts, grab bars, and home modifications, designed to fit your home, your needs, and budget. Experienced professionals will take the time to explain your options so you can make an informed decision. If staying safe and comfortable in your home matters to you, start with a free in-home consultation. Call Access at 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
The Danielle Gill Podcast, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
Throughout Trump's first administration, the Democrats cried endlessly about foreign collusion and the usurpation of democracy through government abuse and corruption. All the while, they were doing just that. They were colluding with foreign governments to usurp democracy through government abuse, corruption, all of the things.
Subscribe for free today to the Danielle Gill Podcast on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson.
Good morning. Severe thunderstorm warning if you're driving around in your car or can look out a window. It's in effect until 11:30 today. Outside our studio here, I can barely see the trees, and the wind is a-blowing, so we're going to get through the storm.
Notice if there's a tornado.
Yeah.
So you're just going to leave the fourth floor and go where?
I'm going to go down to the basement. I survived a tornado when I was a kid. It was one of my first memories. We lived in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Back in the day, I mean, we're from here, but my dad had a lot of engineering jobs, and we moved all over the country. And, so I don't mess around with Mother Nature.
Well, in South Dakota, I distinctly remember walking out the front door and just watching the tornado in the distance.
Of course you did. You were never afraid of tornadoes? You just really,
Not really.
Did the hair on your arms ever
be.
rise? Because that's when I know we're in trouble.
I'm not trying to tell people not to be safe.
Right.
You should be. Okay.
Right.
All right.
But if Peter, or squirrel hands, whatever you want to call him, he's going to let us know if there's something.
You can leave,
and
I will handle the show, Amy.
I know you always do. All right, something that is being handled is Governor Pritzker. This morning they had a business breakfast at the Four Seasons downtown Chicago, very schwanky. And they asked him, "What's the future? Will there ever be Chicago Bears? Are they going to be the Arlington Heights Bears?"
The mayor has no plan. He has come up with no plan at all about how the Bears would end up in the city of Chicago. To show up in May and have a bunch of demands seems like late in the game, and it's unfortunate that's happened most years.
312-642-5600. It's one of a myriad of topics we're going to discuss.
Yeah, I never want to get in the middle of two Democrats fighting each other over a bailout for a big corporation. Just keep me out of that fight. Let them go at it.
Yay. Yeah, they're going at it because I've never seen, and I've covered a lot of his press conferences and watched a lot of them, so you guys don't have to. But he really turned on Brandon Johnson today. That there are not going to be Chicago Bears. I mean, they could keep the name. They could move to Hammond and Arlington Heights and still be the Chicago Bears. But Chicago Bears are not going to play at Soldier Field. I mean, this coming season they will. That schedule's already been out, and probably the next season as well. But I think plans are moving forward.
Oh, that's great. I'm excited to see what happens here. By the way, there's only 2 weeks left in the session down in Springfield, Illinois. They've got a lot of work to do. Pritzker really still wants that BUILD Act, which a number of mayors have passed, have pushed back on. But apparently, Wall Street Journal reported on it. They did a whole op-ed on it, and they said, "Oh no, Pritzker is determined to get this across the finish line." He's only got 2 weeks. I don't know if that's really going to happen. They've got that. They've got the budget, which the Democrats have promised transparency on. Well, transparency means that you would be talking to Republicans right now and revealing what's in that budget at this point in time, and they're not, so I don't believe them at all. So they've got some big issues going on. But speaking of money, guess what? J.B. Pritzker wants to give more of our money away.
Yeah, he yesterday was on the lakefront or somewhere because the man walks, okay, Jeannie? He's got to walk. He's got to get in his steps every day. And he announced that he's helping out 1,500 Illinoisans to put down roots here in this state. And here he is announcing it for himself. Here's how he's spending your tax dollars.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Beautiful Sunday morning here at Promontory Point on the south side of Chicago. I have really great news for all Illinoisans. We've reached a huge milestone for Access Home. That's our payment assistance program for first-time home buyers. Now, in just 9 weeks, we've been able to help 1,500 families take the first step toward first-time home ownership. Along with our housing initiative in the legislature, we're on our way to fulfilling the needs of hundreds of thousands of families across the state. Let's make it happen.
Okay, I could not be more disgusted. I do not want to give down payments to first-time home buyers. Period. Full stop. Nothing. They should get nothing. This is this is just as bad. I don't know, they're equally bad. But he spent $25 million of our capital budget to go ahead and give bailouts for student loans for first-time home buyers in the state of Illinois. That was a boondoggle, too.
The Illinois Smart Buy program. Yes. I have a friend whose daughter moved from Ohio to Elk Grove to get rid of the student debt. They paid her $20,000 off of her student loans. But then the program ran out of money. But that's a way to try and get people here. And then that didn't work, so then they let in the illegals, Jeannie, to fill up the congressional district. So they could keep their seats and keep their power and keep their little thiefdom going.
Both programs are terrible, and I want to know how they got passed, because I don't actually believe that they were passed as a specific bill by and voted on by the legislature. I think this is one sort of omnibus program bill for going through DCEO or something like that. But I want to know the roots of it and who actually signed off on it. I think he's just spending our money however he sees fit, and he's getting away with it. But I got to tell you what, I have 3 adult kids who are out of school. All of them own their own homes. All of them did it without our help. One of them owns 2 homes. Oh, by the way.
Good. But we worked for it.
Yeah, they did. And I do not want to bail anybody. Do you remember that first time home buyer program too, where they had it in after the housing crisis? Obama came up with it, and it was there for 2 years and then gone for after that. So like this idea that you're going to, have these niche programs that last for 1 or 2 years, so you get a press pop and a bump up for your election cycle. It's just garbage. But they're taking our money and spending it with people that don't deserve it.
Text message, where is the $15K down payment coming from? Your bank account, Pritzker, or mine? And then another one, wait until they get their property tax bill. Will you help them with that too? It's wrong. It doesn't build character. It doesn't teach you to be self-sufficient. It encourages the government, for you to be dependent on the government. And that's not the way any of us Republicans and conservatives were raised. 312-642-5600. Let's go to Steve in Huntley. Hi, Steve. How are you? Good morning.
Well, good morning. Oh, great show as always. Hey, I was listening to the show Friday, and you guys started out with one of the state reps or senator talking about how illegal aliens are getting pre-filled out voter cards. And I'm thinking, and this was coming from DHS, I believe. Well, and I was thinking, well, how could it be that they're not getting caught doing that? And then I was talking to somebody out here on the weekend, and they said, well, Steve, in the last session, the 2-year session in Springfield, they passed like 234 bills that require the Illinois AG to do all this stuff. And he says they're overwhelmed. And they're understaffed, and they just can't keep up with this stuff. And I'm thinking, gosh, if I was an illegal government, if I was an Illinois government criminal, well, that would be just what the doctor ordered. They can't. We'll just give them so much to do, they can't catch us.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing that story up, Steve. I did cover that with State Senator Terry Bryant, and I played a clip from State Senator Steve McClure, who highlighted this when the appointment was up for Dulce Quintero for DHS director. And, McClure said, look, we've known this. This has been an issue for over a year. She has been providing illegals who come into contact with DHS services a pre-filled out form to send into their county clerk. It's pre-filled out for voter registration. Now, back in 2016, there was a bill that passed that said if you come into contact with various agencies, they can get you registered to vote, not just the DMV. This was their voter expansion plan. But in that case, in all cases, citizenship had to be verified at the agency where they were doing it, and that form had to be sent to the Secretary of State for further verification of citizenship before it was sent back to the clerk and put on the voter rolls. She is completely subverting that process, and she won't answer any questions. That's what's going on, and it took off. Libs of TikTok picked it up. A lot of other people picked it up. But my problem with all this, it's been going on for well over a year, and we're just hearing about it largely. So
yeah, how can we help get the AG more bite to in the butt?
The AG is worthless. The AG is worthless. Kwame Arul does what only always do. He doesn't care. But thanks a lot for the call. I appreciate it, Steve.
Let's go to George in Naperville. You're on the real story. Good morning, George. How are you?
Good morning, ladies. Pritzker needs to give Brandon a big bear hug and get back to the voodoo that they do so well in our city.
Okay, thanks, George. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay, so in the area of headlines, it's prom season.
Well,
and you followed this, I'm sure.
I did.
Queen.
Well, I wasn't prom queen.
Oh,
I was
sorry,
homecoming queen, but I did go to 8 proms. Was asked to 9. And yes, I wore the same dress, so thank you, because we didn't have money for me to have a different dress anytime. But people who listen to this station, we're not here to tell you about that story. We're telling you about a real helicopter mom. That's what this is. And it started with the Park District in Markham. The executive director, her name is Katina Brown. She ordered something special, Jeannie, for her daughter for prom. She wanted a little over the top. She wanted her to take a picture in front of a helicopter. And here's the entire story by CBS.
About this prom helicopter stunt. Some say no one was harmed, so what's the problem? Others, including city leaders, insisting that the park director crossed the line for a photo op for her daughter. A photo shoot, at least the deposit we now know was charged with a credit card that taxpayers pay for. Less than a week after this helicopter landed at the Markham Park, catching many by surprise, this prom stunt for the park director's daughter is now political. Here's what Quintina Brown told officers.
I got it okay through the park, but I didn't just, what's going on with the city.
Yet city leaders never authorized the landing in the public park where children were playing.
Did they say you can land a helicopter? I have the landing permission, I can bring it over.
The pilot had a notice signed by the park director herself. The company later handed over this invoice to the city attorney. The receipt raises much bigger questions. The bill was for a minimum of $800 for an hour. At the bottom, there's a credit card number linked to Brown. She named Markham Parks as the company and even used the address of the field house and provided her signature on a taxpayer-funded credit card.
The plot thickens, as they say.
The city attorney says there's no way Brown accidentally entered all that information. In fact, he spoke to the helicopter company.
They told me that the deposit was charged to the card, and they have not been successful in getting the remaining $800 off the card for whatever reason.
Using the Park District credit card either to pay or hold the reservation is why Markham's mayor says residents should be concerned.
Why wouldn't somebody question that?
In fact, the city started questioning spending at the Park District and its board in the fall of 2025.
How are you, Ms. Brown?
CBS Chicago reported when Brown was first caught on body cam getting served with an injunction. Leaders allege Brown and the park board were not paying bills and left most parks with broken equipment and deplorable conditions.
They've been landing helicopters in different ways over there.
And remember that invoice? There's a line which says every additional 6 minutes over the hour would be $80. We're told police grounded that chopper for at least 3 hours. Now the big question, who will pay for the extra minutes? Not to mention the original $800. Keep in mind, that contract is under the name of the Markham Park District. We did reach out to Brown. She did not get back to me tonight.
How 312-642-5600. You could also text us. How does she think she can get away with? There were children, Jeannie, playing on the playground when this helicopter landed. Presidents can't land. I mean, you have to have approval from the city. You have to have approval from the mayor. I mean, that is an abuse of power. That she's the park district's director, and she thought, well, I'll just sign off on this. Oh, and then on top of that, I'm going to put kids' lives in danger. And then I'm going to have taxpayers pay for it in Markham when they're sitting next to a playground. If you see the video, there is broken equipment. I wouldn't want to go to that park. You wouldn't want to send your kids or grandkids to that park.
Voters must be okay with it because they keep voting these idiots into office. That's all I can say.
But she still has her job this morning. She has her job this morning.
Yeah, and Tiffany Henyard had her job too. And Mike Madigan had his job for a long time too. And so did Ed Burke. And we can just go down the line.
Just the absolute
arrogance. The voters. It's the voters' problem. And you don't like this? Vote somebody else different in next time.
And the girl, the 18-year-old girl, she was in front of the helicopter and then she was hugging her mom. I have the best mom. That was the night of that this happened, and all
mom
the news
should be in jail by now.
Yep. All right, coming up on The Real Story, D300 sued for transitioning a student behind their parents' back. That and much more right ahead.
You're listening to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, business owners, is your business and money in good hands? Does your bank invest in your success? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that when you need a relationship bank, Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. I love these guys. Not only do they have expansive industry experience, a strong financial track record, but they're also highly capitalized for strategic growth. That's so important. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. They know what it means to grow a business by designing solutions that are right for you and only you. These are real people. They're ready to help. So reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Make the call today, 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Go online, signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Signature Bank.
The Stephanie Trussell Show speaks to the heart of where you live, work, and raise your family. Every week, Stephanie brings you the conversations that matter most, from our local neighborhoods to the halls of Springfield, covering the local issues and the real solutions. Stephanie sits down with the local leaders, candidates, and everyday heroes who are fighting to make Illinois a place you're proud to call home. Stephanie is your community, your voice. The Stephanie Trussell Show, heard Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. right here on AM 560, The Answer.
John was an active man. He'd go for runs, walk the golf course, and always take the stairs instead of the elevator. But then bone-on-bone knee pain got in the way and affected his mobility. It became too painful to even go for walks. And when it seemed like John's only option was knee replacement surgery, a friend told him about the Joint Relief Institute and their affordable, non-surgical knee pain relief. John met with the Joint Relief Institute and discovered their lubricating gel treatment could rejuvenate his lost cartilage. Safe, effective, no surgery. Long story short, John is now back to being active without pain or medication.
There is an alternative to knee replacement surgery. Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Oh, this is such a big case, and we're going to cover it more later in the week, but I think I wanted to tell you guys about it right now. Massive case out of Texas. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has secured a historic settlement with Texas Children's Hospital that compels the creation of the country's first ever detransition clinic. It requires the hospital to pay $10 million for billing Texas Medicaid for unallowable and illegal gender transition interventions, including by using false diagnosis codes, and compels the termination and the revocation of the privileges of multiple physicians. Now, this settlement came about in part because Dr. Ethan Heim, who has been on my radio show a couple of different times, he blew the whistle that the Texas Children's Hospital was continuing to transition minors, even though the legislature and the governor had signed into law saying you cannot do that to minors. We have a complete stop on this in the state of Texas. They continue to do it. He got sued by the Biden DOJ for the alleged, apparently outing people on, not in compliance with HIPAA. All right. That was false. He was completely in compliance with HIPAA. They were just mad that he blew the whistle on what was happening with the transgender surgeries. That case got dropped when Trump came into office. Okay. But as part of the settlement in this whole deal, Texas has now secured this huge case. They're going to have a detransition clinic, and it's going to be free for the first 5 years. All services provided through the detransition clinic will be funded by Texas children and be free of charge to patients. This is a huge, huge deal. It's part of the unraveling of the woke agenda. And but we've got the opposite going on here. In District 200, they have been secretly gender transitioning a student behind the parent's back. This story from Jonathan Bielik at the Legal Newsline. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of a named plaintiff, identified in the complaint as SK. According to the complaint, she's the mother of a student at one of the district's 3 high schools in D300. According to the complaint, staff at the student's school allegedly began in 2022 using an alternate name and pronouns for the child, identified in the complaint. The complaint asserts the student at that time experienced declining mental health and difficult completing schoolwork. Those struggles then prompted the mother to contact the child's teachers and other school staff to discuss concerns surrounding the academic performance and struggles. However, amid those discussions, the mother says school staff hid from her the alleged social transitioning of her child ongoing at the school. I mean, the complaint asserts the school maintained its silent attempt to keep her in the dark about her child's condition and treatment at school, even when the student was hospitalized for suicidal ideation in 23. So they even gave the child a gender support plan, didn't share it with the parents. I mean, it goes on and on. This is a massive lawsuit, Amy.
How in the heck can that happen? That parents don't know?
Well, because it's actually the student guidance that Pritzker put out when he got into office. His state board of education put out school guidance suggesting and telling schools, we think if you need to, you should hide gender transitioning from the parents for the health of the student. It's official guidance. It's not law, but it's guidance, and a number of school districts have picked it up.
And then you have Minnesota, where if you want to transition without your parents' knowledge, you can flee there and get gender reassignment surgery. I mean, these Democrats are evil.
Well, you know, the Justice Department did launch that investigation concerning gender ideology in pre-K through 12 schools in 36 Illinois school districts.
But how many school districts do we have in the state of Illinois?
852 school districts.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
And guess who's not on this list?
Let's start with District 300.
That's right. D300's not on this list. Neither is Naperville 203. They had a kid running in a track meet in the middle school. A boy running the girls. I mean, every school district should be on this list.
Well, then you have Conant High School, which is District 211, where you had a male who was a kid born male, identifies now as a female, make the girls' freshman volleyball team. Later quit, but took a spot away from some club players whose their parents paid tens of thousands of dollars to try and make the team.
Well, speaking of D211, we're going to be talking with a teacher who got fired from D211 for Facebook comments she made about BLM back during the riots of 2020. And her case is approaching the Supreme Court. We're going to find out whether or not it's going to make it there or not. Her name is Jeanne Hedgepeth, and we're going to talk to her after this break.
Larry Elder warns of trusting this regime.
Unclear whether Iran has agreed to permanently suspend its pursuit of a nuclear bomb. This is an evil, evil regime. They have been at war against us for 47 years. And there's no reason to believe that it is some sort of deal, that they will stick to it, they will abide by it, that they won't break it.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. A state judge allowing prosecutors to use a gun and a notebook as evidence at Luigi Mangioni's murder trial, but is suppressing other evidence found in the backpack at the time of his arrest. Fox's Eric Shawn.
So it's the bullet magazine, his cell phone, his passport, his wallet, and a computer chip will not be allowed into evidence. The gun, the weapon that police say was used to kill Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO, will be allowed into evidence.
Attorneys for President Trump filed a motion today in Florida to withdraw his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS over leaks of his tax returns.
The court filing does not mention any settlement between President Trump and the IRS. However, ABC News reported last week a potential deal would create a $1.7 billion fund.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect mostly cloudy skies with a breeze and high humidity. There's a chance of a thunderstorm lingering into the early afternoon, potentially bringing hail and strong winds. The temperature will reach 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-926-5959. That's 800-926-5959. 800-926-5959.
Did you know most remodeling mishaps start before construction even begins? Here's something else you should know. At Forever Remodeling, we do things differently. Every kitchen, bathroom, and basement project starts with smart planning, detailed 3D designs, a clear scope of work, and accurate pricing, all sorted out before you get started. No surprises, no stress, just beautiful results. Done right the first time. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, EVER, remodeling.com. And schedule your free in-home consultation today.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, summer fun is among us, and it's that time of year again, time for the annual AM 560 golf outing sponsored by Signature Bank. We are once again partnering with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Now, this great organization helps to provide for our first responders and our military heroes, including our homeless vets. So we're excited to help raise money for them on Monday, June 15th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. We've been there for years. It's a great challenging course. We have foursomes and twosomes available. And when you join us, you will enjoy a full day of golf, which includes a box breakfast, lunch buffet for our morning golfers, and a box lunch and dinner buffet for our afternoon golfers. And we have prizes, of course, for the winning foursome, longest drive. I'm always close, but never have won the longest drive. But not this year, Jeannie. I'm going to do it. You'll also receive, if you're a business owner, an AM 550 marketing campaign, which includes 25 one-minute commercials to air on AM 560 Monday through Sundays between 8 a.m., 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., along with a digital marketing analysis to get your foursome. Join us. Go to 560theanswer.com/golf. You can pay a little extra to play golf with Dan or with me or with John Anthony. So do it today. Get on it, folks. 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Real Estate Brokered ED Dring online, leaving ill Deut. Words are hard today. Jeepers. Or you can go on leavingil.com. All right. And we'll see you Monday, June 15th.
I won't be there, but the real story is broadcasting from that golf event. So that's really good. And the only type of golf you want to play with me is miniature golf. So. While we're on announcements, though, I do want to say this. The Illinois Right to Life will feature Chloe Cole as the keynote speaker at its event in June. Chloe was harmed physically and mentally by professionals who allowed her as a minor to make decisions about gender identity that she was incapable of understanding. She's a witness to the harm experts without a moral compass can do. Get tickets to hear her story at Illinois Right to Life. So I want to make a mention of that. But
great, we need to get her on the program again. When is that Illinois Right to Life? Because maybe I'll send somebody I know.
That's June 18th.
June 18th.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, but Chloe Cole, she's been on our show before, and we'd love to have her back. All right, okay, wokeness is alive and well, even though it seems to be dying. Academia is going to be really tough to pull it out. And at the 211, since we're going to be talking with Jeannie Hedgepage here in a minute, and she was the teacher from 211 that was fired over free speech rights. I just thought I wanted to get her response to this too. This is the school board meeting, May 14th, so last week at 211. This is one of the students. Here you go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shira Karthik. I'm a sophomore at Fremd High School. And tonight I will be sharing my thoughts through a poem I wrote for Writers Week about issues that impact many people in our country. It's called I Pledge. I would like you to think about the last time you spoke the Pledge of Allegiance and whether you stopped to question it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of a country who hates my skin, and my voice, and my name, and even the shade of my face in the frame. I pledge allegiance to the flag of a country that sees difference before it sees humanity. I pledge allegiance to the flag of a country that isn't accepting of my kin, to the country where rules feel set before I begin. I can never win. To a country who still segregates, to a country who always discriminates. I pledge allegiance.
Okay, she went on for her whole 3 minutes. This was the ending.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to its republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for some. A pledge half spoken, a truth left undone.
Okay, I mean, this is just ridiculous. You can go back to your country and take your parents with you. Because
I want to hear more about how she's being oppressed as, is she Latino? I couldn't see.
No, she's, I think Indian descent is what it appeared to me in accordance with her name. Well, that's what she said to the school board.
Did she accomplish anything?
I don't know, but as a sophomore saying this, spewing this garbage, it's very concerning. On the other hand, I want to give a shout out to the baseball players who showed up at D300.
In uniform.
It was awesome. Yeah. This is what they had to say. This is what normal people would go to your school board and talk about. if you were a kid.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Jacob Miners, and I'm a student athlete, junior, on the baseball varsity team for Schaumburg High School. I'm here tonight to speak about the conditions on our field, as I think they're completely unacceptable for player safety. I play third base for the varsity team, and one of the biggest issues on our field is that the giant lip that sits in between the grass and the dirt. These balls can take dangerous and unpredictable hops on the players that can cause injuries. Our last season, when I was on JV, one of our other third basemen suffered 3 concussions from the same lip. I thankfully was not hurt, but was left with a few bruises on and around my chest area. Situations like that should never happen because of the field conditions. As players, we understand that injuries are a part of the sport and they will happen, but them being caused by preventable injuries, like preventable things that could be fixed, is not acceptable in my eyes, just because of the uneven playing surfaces.
Okay, what a nice gentleman. He and like 5 other baseball players stood up there and said, look, the fields are unsafe. And we can't play as much because when they're rained out, it takes forever.
And we've had an enormous amount of rain this year, this spring. I mean, it's been crazy. And also they asked for, hey, other fancier schools go out of town for tournaments. Why can't we go out of town as well? So, I mean, they were advocating for themselves. And she, in her mind, and I don't know her name or not, she thought that she was advocating for herself as well.
Oh, please.
That was little awful. Social justice warriors everywhere.
You know what? Somebody who knows a lot about what's happened in D211, which, by the way, is one of the wealthiest high school districts. I think it may be even the largest high school district in the state, and it certainly has enough money to fix its baseball fields to make it safe. But you know what? They are as woke as all get out, and somebody who has faced the anger of the board and the wrath of them is Jeanne Hedgepeth. She joins us now about her case against D211 and to give us an update. Jeanne, thanks so much for bringing on The Real Story.
Hello, thank you.
So tell us your backstory for those who aren't familiar with what happened to you.
It was around this time, actually. It was Memorial Day weekend. I made some comments on social media while I was in Florida on vacation during summer break. I had taught for 20 years at the district, and some kids, I don't know if you call it trolling, stalking, but unbeknownst to me, they were kind of some kids who had got gleaned a little bit of my politics from somehow, from Facebook or whatever, decided to screenshot things they didn't like and make a fuss. There was a concerted effort by a Black Lives Matter protester who ended up on the school board. The union is, we know the union. I didn't have the right politics, so I wasn't really represented as well as I would have been if I had different politics. Of that, I'm certain. And just, they worked to get me fired, and it worked. And I was very fortunate a year after this happened in 2020. And, it was part of the problem was like that girl. These kids had nothing to do because of COVID lockdown. So they were searching for this justice they're supposed to go after. They're told by adults to go change the world, and they can't even make their beds and change their underwear. You know what I mean? Like the hubris asked of them is really bad. They're not mature enough. They're not knowledgeable enough to make these kinds of changes. This girl's, crying about her race. She has no idea when you look at history and the world today, how unracist this country is if you actually get the right facts instead of letting anecdotes and somebody else's viewpoints color color the truth, because it's not the truth.
All right. So the kids stalked you on social media, and what was the reasoning when they called you in and said, we're done? Or you might have been doing remote learning at the time.
Oh, because of what I had to say.
Okay, can you give us an example of a Facebook post or social media post?
So what happened was this young lady posted, she was comparing how Black Lives protesters were being treated, because remember that was going on. The rioting, there's rioting and protesting.
They were being treated with kid gloves. They were allowed to do whatever they wanted in the summer of 2020. It was the summer of love for them.
Right. So there's another fact she had wrong, and which is what I pointed out. She was like, look at how they treat the white people protesting the COVID lockdowns in Michigan compared to our Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, no, are you serious? And I said it real respectfully to this young lady. I had her in class. She was 25. I had her in class when she was 15. She chose to be my Facebook friend. So when I said to her, disagreed with her, she told me to shut up with my white privilege. And I said, that's like the N-word. I'm about facts, truth, and love. And I went on and respectfully disagreed with her and explained to her what if you're concerned about Black Lives Matter, what about the abortion rate? What about the murder rate within the Black community? There's so many Black people that have informed my opinion of what could happen for the Black community. I have to shut up because I'm white, but still, that doesn't mean I don't care and haven't learned and studied and paid attention to a lot of people like Thomas Sowell, for number one.
So, Jeannie, moving on a little bit here. So you filed a lawsuit after they fired you to get your job back, and that worked its way through the court system, and it gets to the Seventh Circuit. And it is interesting because some of the people have been following this case too. And Lori Higgins kind of put it together in an article for us at Breakthrough Ideas just this week. You can read it at Breakthrough. Yeah. But she wrote that Thomas Berry and Dan Greenberg, writing for the Cato Institute, warned that if allowed to stand, the Seventh Circuit's decision will prevent teacher civic participation by denying them robust speech rights. And I wanted to bring that up in light of the entire CPS May Day activist march that had a ton of teacher civic participation, 13%.
They have the right politics.
And if they had the right politics, then it's okay.
Yep, exactly. It's shameful. And, it was really sad when this happened to me. It was how few people, only one teacher spoke up. A lot of them agreed with me. They're not going to say anything because they're afraid. It's outrageous. It truly is.
Yeah, well, the leader of the PAC on the 211 board is this Kim Cavell, and Lori Higgins writes, Cavell has a history of unethical behavior, perhaps the most corrupt of which is her scheme to solicit outside money to interfere with the 2017 school board election. Prior to being elected to 211 in 2019, Cavell colluded with her sister to defeat the 2017 slate of excellent conservative candidates by bringing in outside money from wealthy homosexuals and cross-sex identifiers. She totally is somebody who identifies with the trans community. She's been the bane of everybody else who's wanted to do the right thing in that district from a conservative standpoint, and she's been the leader of the PAC. She's still there.
There's all kinds of issues with this case. There's a lot of problems I could point out to you. The case went to the Supreme Court because of the main issue, which goes back to another Illinois case back in the 70s called Pickering. And they have a Pickering balance test, which is how much freedom do I have to speak on issues of public concern? And if so, how much did I disrupt the functioning of the entity I was in? I was not in class. I was not in school. School was not in session, nor was summer school. There was no disruption. You know who fielded all the phone calls that the board got? Kim Cavell, however you say her name. She was behind. I would put money on her being behind the move to get me fired.
Yeah, well, she founded the Trans United Fund of Illinois.
Yeah.
And then had a bunch of lefty.
Together.
Yeah, Heather Staines contributed $10,000. Clark Pellet, a retired attorney for the LGBTQ Center on Halstead, donated $5,000. I mean, Lori Higgins wrote the whole story. You should go to breakthrough-ideas.com and read this whole thing about Jeannie Hedgepeth's case. But to the freshman, the sophomore girl who made up her own Pledge of Allegiance, what say you about that?
Like I said, these kids don't know enough to say that stuff. Their education is sorely lacking in that school. I had a couple of incidents that occurred because I was starting to lose my patience. There are teachers literally teaching AP history saying, and then the evil white men did this, and other teachers telling the Hispanic kids, You vote blue, you don't vote red. You vote blue, you don't vote red. That's in the classroom at D211. That's just two examples of many that exist. Just ask the kids. And so you think they're learning the truth about life? They're being indoctrinated just like they claim they are.
But don't you think that student has a right to free speech, even though you don't like her speech?
Oh, with the Pledge of Allegiance in my class, I said, you really shouldn't say it unless you believe it, but you should stand out of respect for everyone. And I made everyone stand. Other teachers, they would be on the computer, shopping while the kids just threw paper airplanes. I'd pass by some of their, Yes, they have free speech. She has a free speech to say that. I don't have any problem with her saying. I'm also going to criticize what she's saying and not agree. I have that right, don't I? No, not if you're a teacher.
But so what are you doing now? And are you on a do not hire list or anything, or can you go back to teaching?
Oh yeah, you can't get hired. So there's a, and I did try in the beginning. There's an AppleTrack. There's this application system for all teachers. And at the end, they say, were you ever asked not back and why? So you have to put that in. And, nobody, it's like you're a pariah, especially in the beginning, right? Like this was 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And, they don't want to touch you because people, the politics have become so insane when it comes to not being able to accept people having different ideas than you.
Okay. And so the status of the case right now is?
They're not going to, the Supreme Court denied hearing it for their next session.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for sticking in there and, taking this as far as you could. I really appreciate your advocacy and your outspokenness. And thanks so much for joining us on The Real Story today, Jeannie Hedgepeth.
Thank you for what you do to do the same thing. Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Don't believe the official narrative? You've got the real story on AM 560, The Answer.
On Salem News Channel, principled voices are shaping today's conversation. Scott Jennings brings clarity to the toughest debates. Josh Hammer's blistering commentary puts politics and culture on trial. And Alex Marlowe's insight connects us to what matters most. Watch anytime on Samsung TV Plus, Pluto TV, or find us on your screen at snc.tv. 3 new shows, 1 powerful lineup. Salem News Channel, across America.
If you've saved $100,000 or more for retirement, call Steve Shyman today at 833-945-7283. That's 833-WILL-SAVE, 833-WILSAVE. Schedule your no-cost, no-obligation retirement review and make sure your plan is built to protect what you've worked so hard to earn. And don't forget to listen to Steve's show, Protecting Your Assets, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on AM 560. Call now, 833-945-7283.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Plumbers, today will be a good day. You will be profitable. Your clients will be nice. No one will stand over you and tell you how to fix the thing they actually hired you to fix. You will also feel at peace after switching to Progressive, America's #1 commercial auto insurer. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, #1 commercial auto insurer from the NAIC's 2024 National Premium Data.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, 312-642-5600. You can either call in or text us at that number. You can also watch us on YouTube on the Breakthrough Ideas channel, and always carry the podcast with you when you download, where you get your podcasts on Spotify or Apple. So
that's right.
There's many ways to listen.
Yeah, message from 847 D214 is the largest with 7 high schools. Yes, okay, I stand corrected. Thank you. Another message, 312, to that sophomore student, why are you here? Why don't you and your parents go back to your country of origin? And, and on that note, I also got another message in through my Facebook Messenger saying, that student, she just put herself out there as a sophomore. What if she changes her mind in 5 years? What if an employer finds that video of her speaking out?
If she stays in Illinois, the employer would probably applaud her and give her a position of power in the company because that's how they think.
Okay, let's go to Greg on LaGrange. Greg, welcome to the program.
How you doing?
Great.
I just find it, there's a special place in some very, very dark place for people that manipulate children and get to them and taunt them and try to change them through psychological means. It is so evil. And it's just the precursor to them taking some sort of action, either chemically or through surgical procedures, if we still have hospitals to do that. I really want to appreciate what you guys do. I think mothers are especially attuned to this stuff. And I also believe that Chris Rufo deserves a lot because, believe me, in my heyday when I was working full-time, I would support the children's hospitals, Lori being one of them. St. Jude's always, But then I found out what Lori was doing. Then you find out what some other big-name schools are doing in the name of being politically correct, and that is horrible. I really think people need to wake up when they say, well, we don't see speech being censored here, or we don't see intimidation being done here. It's here. And ironically enough, it starts at the lowest levels, library boards, school boards. That's where it grows. It's just like a root. It takes root very early and very deep. Just keep fighting. We have to keep fighting. It's our children we're fighting for, our children. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Appreciate that phone call. I couldn't agree more. And that's why, school boards are some of the most important boards that you can serve on, quite frankly. But I got to say, this Texas settlement, it may set the standard for other states as well. And Illinois is going to be one of the last to ever get there, but it is evil what they're doing. As part of the settlement, Texas Children has also agreed to fire, permanently and irrevocably terminate all existing privileges and never again hire or credential 5 woke doctors who performed harmful medical interventions on Texans. As part of the settlement, Texas Children's agrees not to provide gender transition services, will implement a host of compliance and ethics measures, and the hospital will amend its bylaws to trigger automatic relinquishment of privileges for any physician who violates Texas prohibition on medical interventions to transition kids. That's huge. This is a historic settlement, Amy. It's going to have far-reaching impact.
And Lori, I'm just looking it up. Lori, Ann and Robert Lori Children's Hospital of Chicago, they had a huge wing for transitioners because it's $1 billion plus business. It's a way to
funded
make money.
by Jennifer Pritzker.
Yep, and now it's a transition team from childhood to adulthood. So they changed the verbiage on their website, but we need to check to see if this is still going on. All right, thank you so much. We survived the storm, Jeannie. No tornado here. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning. Have a wonderful afternoon. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. God bless, and God bless America.